Black fan base. All right, welcome back to What She Said Sports. This Shador girl checking in. Okay, so it is Monday, it is MLK Day. All right, so I put together a good show for you, and I want y'all to know that there are no coincidences. Okay, so so we talked about this before, right? I said, so you mean to tell me 22 people drove from the city of Atlanta to rob Shedeur Sanders for 12 minutes and just got some bags, some hats, and some sunglasses, right? I also said, the prank itself, right? We talked about how if it wasn't for the video that they took, the truth wouldn't have come out, right? And it seemed at the time that it was a coincidence that the video was put out. Then again, maybe it wasn't. When you think about things, maybe it wasn't a coincidence, because it's damn sure not a coincidence that Kevin Stefanski is one of the highest paid coaches by the Atlanta Falcons. That's damn sure not a coincidence. It said Kevin Stefanski's salary as the new Atlanta Falcons head coach is reported to be substantial, earning him over $15 million annually, or roughly $40,000 per day. Per day. For somebody that failed, placing him among the NFL's highest paid coaches for the next 5 years, with estimates suggesting around $1.25 million monthly. Now, you heard that, right? You heard that. I also remember the owner of the Browns saying he didn't want to fire Kevin Stefanski because he's done good work for us. Kevin Stefanski was let go because he failed as a coach, winning only, is it 8 games out of 34? Winning only 2 seasons of 6. And he's now one of the highest paid coaches. You heard me probably say multiple times, he was one of the lowest paid coaches. In fact, Raheem Morris was only paid $4 million a year. Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland was 3.5. Raheem Morris had a better record than Kevin Stefanski and got fired for somebody that was a losing coach who's now one of the highest paid coaches. That's not a coincidence. What the hell did he do to deserve that? All we watched him do this year was abuse Shedeur Sanders. That's all we watched him do. And maybe that's what he got paid for. Like the people who executed the prank from Ole Miss that's connected to the New York Giants that was together on draft day, likely in New York, got protected for pranking Shedeur. And the Falcons got scapegoated. And here it is. The Falcons land Stefanski. And what else is not a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. Can y'all hear me? It's not a coincidence. Okay. It's not a coincidence that today is MLK Day. Not a coincidence that the hiring of the head coach happened before the GM, number one. Number two, they rushed it up so they could quickly hire Kevin Stefanski, who wasn't in demand when the Browns hired him and who was not in demand now. Why did they rush up? Is it because it's MLK Day? It's damn sure not a coincidence. He was hired in Atlanta. A black coach pushed out for Kevin Stefanski. Is it a coincidence that the Browns are fawning over the offensive coordinator from the Jaguars, whose last name is Udinski? Stefanski, Udinski. Slavic names, Polish, Ukrainian. You think that's the coincidence? Think about the Ukrainian effort. Think about the Ukrainian immigrant effort, refugee effort. Think about how Hampton University was used out of all the universities out here. Hampton University was used to house Ukrainian immigrants. Not University of Texas, not the University of Alabama, and they went to college for free. Not a coincidence that they took what they looked at as a black space and forced them, because they received federal funding, to house Ukrainian immigrants, people who come from Eastern Europe, like Stefanski and Udinski. Now, come on up a little bit to Atlanta and watch Stefanski push out Raheem Morris, who's black, and Stefanski push out the GM, who's black, and he gets to pick his own GM. I'm going to tell you something. This is not a coincidence. I saw this in corporate America. When the refugees started to come to America, I watched corporate America make sure they had jobs. Whose job do you think they took? I watched it. So what you're seeing is the NFL hiring people like Stefanski with no experience and choosing to elevate them even though they fail, because it's not about winning, to push out black people, because that's what it's about. Just like all Stefanski did was suppress Deshaun, got him injured, and the insurance company paid his salary. Is that the good work? Is that the good work the owner of the Browns is talking about? Because he didn't do nothing else but lose, disrupt the locker room, intimidate players, retaliate against players, and lose, and abuse Shedeur, and get an insurance company to pay Deshaun salary, abuse black people. That's what he did. He failed, was unwilling to build chemistry with the black quarterbacks. Is he racist? It seems to be so. And because he succeeded at being racist, they say, they looking out for him. So now Udinski, who has only been an offensive coordinator in the NFL seemingly, or the Jags, for 1 year, is now seemingly about to be the next head coach. So they looking for another Stefanski. And if it's not him, it might be Monken, who set up Lamar. These are not coincidences. It's not a coincidence they rushed up his interview after firing 2 black people to fire and to hire and overpay Stefanski after committing to CJ Stroud. I'm sorry, after committing to Michael Penix Jr. as the starter. They targeted Michael Penix Jr. And how do you know this? Because it's not a coincidence. There's no black quarterbacks in the AFC and NFC championship. I watched them all season long. Negate every black quarterback out here. And why would they do that? It's not a coincidence. Why is it there's no black quarterbacks in the AFC NFC championship game? Which means there will be none in the Super Bowl. There will be 2 white quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. And the last time that happened was 2021. What was happening since 2021, it was trending towards 2 black quarterbacks based on talent being in the Super Bowl. And last year, there were 3 black quarterbacks, and Lamar was to be the 4th in AFC, NFC championships. So Lamar got cheated. And that was the first time we noticed a game being rigged to keep Lamar out. Not just Lamar, to keep 4 black quarterbacks from making history. It's not a coincidence this year. There's none. Think about how they treated Shedeur in the draft after the AFC, NFC championship. Think about what happened to Jaden Daniels. How they want to say, yeah, we don't know about him. He injury prone. Think about what you've heard since CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams teams lost their bid to advance to the championship game. All I've heard is how many interceptions they have. But one thing about it, CJ Stroud may have had as many interceptions as Josh Allen. And Caleb Williams had 1 less than Josh Allen. I don't even know how many interceptions Josh Allen had because they didn't tell you. They didn't tell you, but they fired one of his coaches as if he's not the problem. See how they use Josh Allen, how they protect Josh Allen, how they succeeded at stealing Lamar Jackson's 3rd MVP and giving it to Josh Allen, how it was always the Bills taking down the Ravens. Only if one of the Ravens players like Derrick Henry messed up or Mark Andrews messed up. Let's see if Derrick Henry gets a good payday like Mark Andrews, a 14-year veteran that already went missing in big games. Just like Harbaugh wasn't trying to win with Lamar and he failed up. Do you see what is happening? It's not a coincidence. And I've said it all along. This ain't just about Shedeur. This is about black quarterbacks. And every last one of them are under attack. And if you become a starter, you might end up in a wheelchair. People going in on CJ Stroud. How many interceptions did Josh Allen have? Did Josh Allen play in the snow and in the rain? Because CJ Stroud did, right? What about Caleb Williams? Did they play in the snow and the rain? I listened to Cam Newton talk about CJ Stroud because they were like, can you blame him? And he said, no, not really. Not when you don't have the weapons you need. Guess what? When CJ Stroud was a rookie like Shedeur, CJ Stroud had the weapons he needed and he didn't. And he put that team on his back. And he went toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs and got cheated. And they took Pat Mahomes over CJ Stroud. And people said at the time, oh, it's because Pat Mahomes, his mama is not black. And they didn't want CJ to get it because his parents are black. You think these black quarterbacks don't know they're being cheated? Didn't Lamar figure it out? Did he curb the hell out of Harbaugh? Let's see who they come for in Houston, because the head coach, who's also black in Houston, which will be a rarity going forward. It was becoming commonplace, but now they reversed it. Just like they're reversing the number of black quarterbacks. Not just going to the Super Bowl. Not just going to the AFC Championship. Who will be QB1s? Spencer Rattler was better than Tyler Shaw and got benched. First he got set up, then he got benched. You saw what happened to Shedeur. These are not coincidences. It's not a coincidence. I don't know how many interceptions Josh Allen had, But I know how many Caleb had, 3, how many CJ Stroud had, 4, and I didn't watch none of their games. The media is the culprit. And some black podcasters ought to be ashamed of themselves. Because that's who is trashing CJ in addition to the broader audience. And that's who is saying that Caleb isn't that guy. How is it CJ Stroud isn't the guy? Caleb isn't the guy, but Josh Allen is, because he's white. And he was already racist against black people when he proved himself. Just like Jerry Jeudy wearing the star of David Cross at the combine. And they hated him for that, but apparently it was a message. You could use me. Look at these people's last names. This is not a coincidence. And it's not just happening in football. It's just now you're seeing it in football. I said it before. They act like it's a whites only space. Some of these teams act like it's a whites only space. I said that. They act like it's the country club only hiring their friends. I already called that out. It's not a coincidence that all of this keep tying back to Atlanta. People keep saying the 3 guys in the robbery video are not the guys that robbed Shedeur. The 4th one is conveniently missing. So now with Atlanta ready to FAFO, because fans are heard of canceling season tickets left and right, and people are suggesting that they take a page out the Browns and let them tickets drop to $6. And I was actually live when I talked about the price of the Browns tickets, and guess whose fan base I compared the ticket prices to? The Falcons. They were $328 in Atlanta, and they were only $6 in Cleveland. So they sent Stefanski to Atlanta. Who is it they really hate? Because why would you invite that into your franchise when you are losing but winning and can keep your stadium filled to capacity and tickets $300, and the Browns was selling for $6, and you could see that stadium wasn't even full. It was sparsely packed. It wasn't even packed. It was just sparse. Why would you take that on? Because what's in it for you? Are you going to get your 200 to 500 acres somewhere out in the burbs and take your team out there and get you a star? Stay tuned, because there's a reason. You overpaying Kevin Stefanski to make a path after he suppresses, after targeting Michael Penix Jr. You paid Kevin Stefanski $15 million a year, $1.25 million a month to make a path for Tyler Shaw to win the division next year. Because Atlanta don't want to win with Michael Penix Jr. That's proven. And who said Michael Penix Jr. is the starter? The owner. And what did he do? Hired Kevin Stefanski and paid him handsomely after he abused Shedeur, and made sure that after Shedeur got them in the playoff hunt, made sure they didn't go no further and got eliminated versus the Texans. In fact, none of the Browns media didn't even talk about the Browns being in a playoff hunt thanks to Shedeur. Just like they didn't talk about his robbery when it happened. Just like they didn't talk about his robbery after the thieves were supposedly from Atlanta. And it's not a coincidence the media tried to paint the picture that Shedeur was careless and left one of his doors unlocked, or one of his friends, somebody that's black, he can't trust, when it's right there in Berea. Not a coincidence. And I'm not the only person that thinks this. I might have started out that way. But the sentiment is growing after Kevin Stefanski was hired in Atlanta. And I know they talked about this. I know they know the consequences. And yet they don't give a damn. They didn't give a damn when they rigged the Ravens game with Mark Andrews catching that ball. They didn't care. Because 4 black quarterbacks didn't make it for the first time in historic moment. Like 16 black quarterbacks did in the draft, and Shedeur with 17 would have been black QB1s becoming the majority, which meant chances are 4 of them gonna make it based on talent. So they stopped that. And they didn't just stop it. They slammed the brakes hard. And they used this year with Shador after the way they did him in the draft and scapegoated his father so you don't see their racism. They used this whole year for Stefanski to prove that he could get the job done. But he failed at taking down Shedeur, but he was successful at making sure they didn't get to the playoffs with a black quarterback. So now they're finna run it back. These teams are acting like it's white-only spaces. You better let them have this shit. Atlanta is getting ready to FAFO. People are being encouraged to let it sit. They knew what they were doing. And they probably going to say, well, we going to move. Bye. Get the hell out. Get the hell out. Because you're being racist. This is absolutely racist. And it's not a coincidence. They rushed it up and hurried it on MLK weekend. It's like they're trying to tell black Atlanta Falcons fans the same message they kept sending to Shador via Stefanski. We don't want you. We don't value you. Cool. We're going to take our ball and go home. People say Falcons fans ought to watch Shedeur in Cleveland. That's if they let him play. They deem this a victory. And they thumbing up your nose with it being MLK weekend. MLK parades happening. Let's just take a look at the celebration that black people are happening and think about what's happening in the blackest city in the United States as an affront, as an offense to black people and how they want you to know. Just take a look at how they want to rain on our parade. All right, so that's Jackson State. Then I had a different video with Edna Carr, a high school in across the river in Algiers at the MLK parade there, which is just across the river in the West Bank in Algiers. Then there's a MLK parade in New Orleans on the East Bank, right? All over the country, black people are celebrating MLK, and the Atlanta Falcons rushed up Kevin Stefanski's hiring process to make their announcement to let us know y'all ain't running shit. And they let us know with hiring him in the first place after he publicly abused Shedeur Sanders. And I told y'all he wanted you to know. And I told you every time a game ended, it looked like he was relieved when they lost, as if the mafia was going to come knock on their door. He was auditioning. I can do this. Let me do this. And he got his payday. And they sent him to Atlanta to target Michael Penix Jr. And just like he did in Cleveland, he going to make a way for the Falcons with a black quarterback that he going to try to take down He gonna make a way for the Falcons with a black quarterback to pave the way for Tyler Shaw to win the division, because that's their darling in that division. It's not Bryce Young, which is why they cheated him this year. It's not Michael Penix Jr., which is why he probably had 2 braces on his knees, because he was vulnerable, because they already knew he had an ACL. And they're going to use that to say he's injury prone, like they using it to say Jaden Daniels is injury prone, so they can demote and push out 2 elite black QB1s. What happened to Jaden Daniels last year? He made it to the AFC and NFC. Did he make it this year? No, because they did the same thing they did to CJ Stroud in his sophomore year to Jaden Daniels. This is an attack on all black. They acting like it's a whites only space. It's not a coincidence you're hearing Slavic, Polish, Ukrainian last names as these inexperienced head coaches. How long before white people with last names like Beck and Ewers and Smith start complaining? Because that's what's happening. It's also a wealth transfer system. So who am I transferring the wealth to? People from Eastern Europe. Away from black people. Away from the Smiths. Whether the Smiths are white or the Smiths are black. The Smiths. And just like it typically is in this country, as long as they hurt black people, don't nobody say nothing until they realize, oh shit, they're coming for us. Yes. Yes, it's exactly what it is. When Queen Ewers' family said it was collusion, they were right, but they didn't abuse Queen Ewers. So see, they different when they want to hold back Carson Beck or Queen Ewers. When the last time you heard Carson Beck in the first round? Let's see what happened with the Natty. He gonna get cheated? Probably. Why? Because Mendoza, his grandparents are Cuban on both sides, is their darling because he's already a check down king. Carson Beck is not a check down king. Quinn Ewers is not a check down king. Shedeur Sanders is not a check down king. Jalen Milroe is damn sure not a check down king. But the white quarterbacks like Beck and Ewers just get disregarded. And they probably going to end up with a Brock Purdy contract. And they're going to talk to them later on. But the black players like Lamar, Shedeur, CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Malik Willis, Jordan Love, Cam Ward, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, they get abused. You watch Russell Wilson. You saw how Russell Wilson was being abused publicly for everybody to see. Do y'all remember when the Philadelphia Eagles head coach did the same thing to Jalen Hurts? See, people forget about that. I didn't. Did you see what Stefanski did to Shador? Because that's how they frame it. Nobody wants you here after you, what you did to Shador. You don't think they talked about that? And not only do they not give a damn what you think about Stefanski abusing Shador, they ain't going to do shit about it. And apparently they don't think you are either, or they don't give a damn if you do. But this is what I find very peculiar, right? I've always said they need protection. They absolutely have to have protection. And I've said they spend a lot of money to make sure they stay off the executive branch's radar. And the executive branch has popped up at least twice. Once with Jim Harbaugh saying he need to be the next head coach in New York, blocking Stefanski. And the other time when Shedeur was being drafted, which is how Shedeur got drafted. Now, remember, the executive branch also came to town in New Orleans, another black city where the Super Bowl was being held, and wanted end racism taken out the end zone, and they did it, which is why they thought they could let their racist flag fly after that in the draft against Shedeur. But they still wanted to not let us know at the time that it was racism, so they blamed Coach Prime and they scapegoated Shedeur and they robbed him of his money and pushed him down so he doesn't become the majority of the QB1s. And there was so much backlash against that. They had to figure out how to do it differently. So they did it in the season. I said, if you're a black quarterback, they're going to get you coming out of college. If you make it, are they going to get you pre-draft like they did Shedeur? They came out and said, we don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders before the combine. Then they made up lies and defamed him publicly to try to justify it so that when they drafted Jackson Dart, you wouldn't say they was racist. They pushed Milroe down the same way. They just didn't blame his daddy. Yeah. But he is somewhere buried in Seattle. And they actually had it in print. He's buried for 2 years. That's all they want to do to black quarterbacks. So it's not a coincidence there are no black quarterbacks in the AFC, NFC championship. So you know what you need to do? The same thing the Falcons fans need to do. You need to boycott because they got cheated. This is why they mistreated Shedeur after they cheated Lamar. So they cheated Lamar, so he wasn't the fourth. And they stopped the trend from black quarterbacks going back, period, with Shedeur in the draft. And not just so he didn't become the majority. Now, what did I tell you that they was doing in the season? We did a head count. They was whittling away at black quarterbacks, benching them left and right. Wait till you see what happens in the offseason. Let's see what happens to Lamar. See what happens to C.J. Stroud. They already gave Caleb Williams back up $10 million. And he went to a D3 school. Remember, this is a wealth transfer system founded on racism. So Raheem Morris had a better record than Stefanski, made less money than Stefanski, and got pushed out. Mike Tomlin stripped of his power. He signed 2 black quarterbacks, and they stripped him of his power immediately. Pushed out Russell Wilson. Justin Fields started writing on the wall and bounced. And they aggressively intimidated him so he could not draft Shedeur, and now he's pushed out. And now there's stories about him personally. Harbaugh failed up too. People kept saying he should have been fired. And see, Lamar saved his job, but he shouldn't have. But since he did, he now knows why he shouldn't have. Because now he knows he's been set up the entire way to make sure his athleticism don't get him to the AFC championship game. The AFC, NFC, where you win and get to the Super Bowl, I guess that's the point that they're at now. I'm done. I'm out. I'll be back next year where Shedeur, it pertains to Shedeur. Because you're going to need to record and document everything because they're going to run it back. And then now you need a set of eyes to watch in Atlanta because what you saw happen to Shedeur getting ready to happen to Michael Penix Jr., which I wasn't joking. It's not a coincidence. It's not even a coincidence. They targeted Shedeur publicly the way that they did. You know why they did that, don't you? For one, you ain't paying attention to what's going on with nobody else. You think it's personal. That's why it's always Atlanta. So when I saw the photo of Coach Prime and somebody had put Mr. Atlanta on it, I said, they hiding the racism. Want you to think it's about Coach Prime. That's why they told that ignorant lie about the man that had everything to do with baseball and nothing at all to do with football and the whole water thing. That didn't have shit to do with this. Just like they wanted you to think Shedeur had a clause in his contract. Why would they give Shedeur a clause in his contract named after his daddy, who they just scapegoated and who they just cheated Shedeur? No. See, Shedeur coming to Cleveland wasn't supposed to happen after they said it would. They wanted to play in his face like they did Lamar at the draft. See how when they figure out something, they want to run it back? So predictable. But this is the peculiar part. They need protection, right? And they think they know who their protection is. They think their protection is the one that said take in racism out the end zone in New Orleans. After that, we don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur. And they had Coach Prime over there, making him think he part of the family, and they eat them in the back. Why did they do that? Because they like, oh, cool. We did what he asked. And guess what? He announced the 2027 draft was in Washington. That's supposed to be their protection, right? But then when we get to the draft, who comes out on behalf of Shedeur? Seemingly, their protection. See, that told me everything I need to know. I said right then and there, oh, they stupid. I'm like, they stupid because they think we going along to get along, so he'll protect us. But what happened? They got put on blast, seemingly, right? And Shador had to get drafted. And Andrew Berry used his connections to try to push Shador to Philly or Baltimore, but it didn't work. And Shador was like, I'm going to Cleveland. Shador is a beast. Shout out to Shador. And they like, I'ma show you. Remember when I told you they love that I'ma show you? And that's where Kevin Stefanski coming at. None of this is coincidence. If Shador would have went to Baltimore, if Shador would have went to Philly, the message was, you will be stacked. We're not going to let you ball out in this league. They were acting like it was personal. Shador didn't do nothing to these folks. This was their way of making sure there were not 17 black starting quarterbacks, just like in Baltimore, holding Lamar back, using his own teammates, was their way of making sure Lamar, who they also humiliated in the draft and devalued like they did Shador. They just didn't blame his daddy, but it's the same thing. And they wanted the same thing to occur for him to go to Green Bay this time, like Lamar did, go to wherever the draft was, but he didn't go. He made a decision for himself, and they said, I'm going to show you. And they take that entitled so-and-so off the board, and they don't want to pay for that. They don't want to pay for that. So when he gets to Cleveland, after he made another decision for himself and didn't want to go to Baltimore, didn't want to go to Philly, I'm going to show you. And that's where the henchman, Kevin Stefanski, comes in at. Kevin Stefanski did everything. We don't want you. We don't value you. Remember, the NFL said they ain't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now before the combine. They never even had to make one lie up. They didn't have to invite him to the combine. And this is the part why it's all going to blow up. If you don't want black quarterbacks, why do you keep drafting them? If Cleveland didn't want Shedeur, why they pretended they did? So, of course, he went to the team that said they was going to draft him for $46 million. I would too. Why would I go to a team that never interviewed me when I'm sitting here talking to the Browns for months, just like he talked to the Giants for years, which means Shedeur had evidence in his house and they was looking for it in his nightstand. Yeah. I told y'all Shedeur had something they wanted. Shedeur has smoking guns somewhere. He either has, and we know he has all of the communicating from all of those months that they was going to pay him $46 million. Because it was said Shedeur was going to be that franchise QB. Had Shedeur calling Stefanski coach before the draft because I heard him do it. And I figured out who he was talking about on draft night when he called Stefanski coach. I said, so he already knew. So he been talking. Remember, Stefanski said, I told you, which meant they had been in some communication. God works in mysterious ways. And you see where he just leveled up to. So they thumbing their nose at God. They thumbing their nose at black fans in Atlanta. They thumbing their nose at black people. Trying to tell us it's a whites only space. And consistently working to bring in people from Eastern Europe. And transfer that wealth to them and push black people out. Black coaches, black GMs, black quarterbacks, because that's the leadership positions. With Stefanski collaborating with the president of operations, he's just a head coach. They gave him a whole lot of power for somebody that failed to pick the next GM so Stefanski can control the roster. It was already said in Cleveland was working to make their skill positions white. Stefanski wasn't fawning over Harold Fanning Jr., but he was gushing and even caught himself gushing over Carson Schlesinger. Schlesinger out there hurt, limping, blood on his uniform, and they let him play so he could be seen as a hero. Stefanski are a lot of people's heroes. Most of them typically wear hoods. Stefanski's promotion came from the same place Shedeur Sanders' phone number came from. Stefanski's salary was approved because we know from the collusion document, all of the owners talk about you can't pay him that. So they approved it. The people that took Shedeur off the board still colluding against Shedeur and seemingly used Stefanski to do it. Do not forget, Haslam is one of those owners. Haslam is also looking for another Stefanski because Shedeur is still there. And it seems the goal initially was to pass him around from team to team, but now it's to park him where he is and don't let him play. That's why you're hearing Deshaun. So now they have to figure out. We've been trying to hold Deshaun back the whole time, so his career just fall off a cliff. But we might have to let him play. And let me tell you what the narrative is going to be. The same thing it was for Jameis Winston. The same thing it was for Jacoby Brissett, the 15th black starting quarterback. Oh my God, he's really good. Anything to block Shedeur. That's the motto going into the year. Anything to block Michael Penix Jr. That's the motto going in Atlanta. That's 2 teams. Who's going to be the third? Because everybody wants Stefanski. Let's see how many black coaches there are when the season starts. Let's see. They already trying to fire Aaron Glenn. He just got the job. He hadn't even completed his first half of the year. And you see, they don't want him to be successful. And people saying Dante Moore should fire his agent because he was going to the Jets. Dante Moore's not stupid. I have said it. Shedeur is not stupid. Caleb is not stupid. CJ Stroud is not stupid. CJ Stroud is on the path that Justin Fields was on. What needs to happen is what I said. I'm looking for somebody who could renew their contract, who's likely going to be devalued, to choose themselves that's already on the ground and say, no, thank you. CJ Stroud is the candidate. They already trying to devalue him before he got here. They only let him get here and cheated him so that he would not be renewed for another $250 million. But they're going to renew Jackson Dart early. Watch what I tell you. Like they renewed Trevor Lawrence and parked him right there in Jacksonville till 2030. And they just not getting here to the playoffs. And they cheated the hell out of Cam and even got him or said he was injured so he can come out the game. And then after the game, oh, you all right. It's just a sprain. The only time they have lost poorly, a beatdown in Tennessee was against the Jags. It's rigged against these black quarterbacks. And Coach Prime is the scapegoat to hide what they're doing to Shedeur. Let's see who the scapegoat will be to do what they're doing to Michael Penix Jr. Because that's why they hired Kevin Stefanski. And his salary was approved by the same people that gave out Shedeur Sanders' number and covered for the New York Giants. You see Joe Schoen's still over there despite Harbaugh, right? Must be something he provides. Joe Schoen is the GM of the New York Giants. His person, his contact was the one that made the call. The Falcons, Ulbrich, and his son was in the room doing like this. Oh my God, I can't believe it happened. And they're going to be rewarded for that, which is why they told Stefanski, you have to keep Ulbrich as the defensive coordinator. Everybody knew going into CJ Stroud's game that the defense is like in Atlanta. The defense can get it done. They suppressed both of them defenses. Just like we watched them do in Cleveland against Shedeur. So keep your eye on the black quarterback. And look for the same play against Shedeur because they don't know nothing else. And they bold with it because they feel like they got protection. And that protection just came back one more again. After speaking out about Shedeur in the draft, Shedeur is put back on the board. They try to push him somewhere else. And he said, hell no. I'm going where y'all said y'all was going to hire me. Shout out to Shedeur. Dude's a soldier. A beast even. Most people would have just went one of them other 2 places. And that's the kind of pushovers they look for. And for some reason, they thought they could turn Shedeur into a pushover. And I don't know why. They think Michael Penix Jr. is a pushover. I don't know why. And I think the reason for that, when you think about them collectively, is because They believe they are desperate to play in the league because there is nowhere else, and that they'll just settle for the security of the backup role because the money is good and anybody would want to have that. So they want them to settle. They don't want them to leave and go do their own thing. In fact, they don't even think they can. White benevolence is a tenet of white supremacy, a white narcissism that says black people can't get it done without us. They need us to be successful. That is what they believe. And that is why you have not seen anybody else out here go start their own league. But Russell Wilson getting ready to make a run for it, but in Benin, not over here. Everybody comes close, but nobody has started an 18-up league with players that were discarded, not waived, discarded. Shiloh was discarded, and Shiloh's good, so he can play, right? Okay. All right, so I want y'all to understand something. There are no coincidences here. I have talked about this endlessly, and now I hear an echo somewhere. So I'm going to share the echo with you, okay? Showtime. That's not it. This is it. And that's not it either. This is it. It's a live show.
To Dylan Gabriel, we're sure you have a lot of first-team reps coming your way. I'm not saying anything. I'm just noticing things. You see, patterns usually mean something. However, just like the Sanders family's number to prank call him during the 2025 NFL draft, his father worked for what team? The four people who drove to Cleveland to rob Shedeur's home. Where did they drive from? And what team just hired Kevin Stefanski after he mistreated Shedeur, after firing a black coach with a better record than Stefanski over the last 2 years? Yep. I'm not saying anything. I'm just noticing things. You see, patterns usually mean something.
Now that's facts, right? But Coach Prime didn't just work for the Falcons. He cemented his legacy there. And they didn't even retire his jersey. When I found that out, it was after I moved here. I said, they didn't retire Coach Prime jersey. They were like, no. But everywhere in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think I remember being at the game, unless they took it down. And this was when I told y'all I went to watch Michael Penix Jr., I think, versus the Texans or the Commanders or somebody. It was early in the season. And it was Coach Prime everywhere. Everywhere on the pillars. When you go out to get food, you know, I got the pillars holding up the place. Coach Prime was, this is my house. Everywhere. Everywhere. And I was just there for the Celebration Bowl, and I can't tell you I saw that. I mean, the season is over, but maybe they took that down. And maybe they took it down because that was when Michael Penix Jr. was a rookie. So after that, Shedeur was in the draft, so they took it down. It was everywhere. I think I probably have photos of it. I just have to go look. And I was like, wow. And it said, this is the house that Prime built, or Coach, this is the house that Dion built, or this is the house I built. It was everywhere. And I was like, wow. But when I heard they didn't retire his jersey, I thought it was crazy. And I was told that supposedly the owner, who's the owner now, but wasn't the owner when Coach Prime was Deion Sanders, you know, here in Atlanta, the current owner, the one that hired Stefanski, supposedly told Coach Prime, if I was the owner at the time, I would have hired you. He also said Michael Penix Jr. is a starter and then hired Kevin Stefanski. And it was planned. When Stefanski left and was booted out of Cleveland, there was somebody waiting in the bushes because they knew it was going to happen, and they filmed it. And I shared it previously, and I think I still have it. If that was something that was planned, so much so that paparazzi could pop out in the bushes in Berea to film it from across the street with a zoom lens, because I was like, I saw the car pass by. I'm like, damn, they was far away. I'm like, they must have a powerful lens. And I thought about those big lenses that they film with when they're filming the games. And then they took care of him. They took care of him. Like they took care of Harbaugh, who was fired. Yeah. So it gives the impression that they were in demand when in fact they were being taken care of because Harbaugh suppressed Lamar Stefanski abused Shedeur. Let's see if Ben Johnson gets rewarded for losing. Matt LaFleur got rewarded for losing. Who's his quarterback? Jordan Love and Malik Willis. Made sure they didn't get there. I watched that hit on Jordan Love. You know how Michael Penix Jr. got 2 ACL injuries? The same kind of hit on him. I looked up the injuries of quarterbacks this year. Pat Mahomes season-ending injury, Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels. Joe Burrow had turf toe. They're abusing these guys, harming them physically. So they can't go on to be impactful. The Raggedy Wildcats was so Shador couldn't be impactful. The wristband gate was so Shador could not be impactful. His teammate crushing his hand and ripping his nail off was so that he could not be impactful. And who got in? Dylan. Until the fans booed the hell out of him. So Atlanta, y'all up. Y'all on the clock. It's your turn for them $6 tickets. It's your turn to cancel season tickets. It's your turn to let the stadium sit empty. It's your turn. Don't buy their merch. I know y'all got some Sanders jerseys over there already. It's your turn to run Stefanski out of Atlanta. Just like 20 million people ran him out of Cleveland, but they took care of him. Let's see how many times they're going to keep taking care of him. So it's fire Stefanski again, this time Atlanta. And hiring Stefanski and hiring Harbaugh was not just to take care of them, but y'all ain't running nothing. And I'm going to show you. That's what that is. It's a thumb up to the fans who wanted them gone. It's a thumb up to the teams who let them go, but they all in on it. Not at the bottom level, but at the top, the owners, because they approved this salary to Atlanta. In fact, they probably said what it should be. So for everybody who thought early on the draft was about Shedeur, I'm so happy these black quarterbacks learned it was not. I'm so happy Lamar curved the hell out of Harbaugh because he realized what was happening. Harbaugh's record shows you. You can see the difference in his early time and in his later time with talent when Lamar was the quarterback and not Flacco. There are no coincidences here. All right, so shout out to the Shedeur Files. I heard the echo. There are no coincidences. All right, so understand, it's MLK Day. We got CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams with interceptions. I still don't know how many interceptions Josh Allen have. It points to the fact that they want to crucify Caleb and CJ Stroud. They cheated both of them because they don't want no black quarterbacks in the AFC and NFC games because they don't want 2 quarterbacks to go back to the Super Bowl because they didn't want 17 black quarterbacks to become the majority. So once again, you're seeing hatred toward black quarterbacks, but what you're seeing is the danger and the harm being done to black quarterbacks so they don't elevate, so they don't fulfill their dreams, so they're not impactful, so they're not playing each other on marquee time slots, so they're not celebrated, so that the racial stereotype that is pervasive against black quarterbacks in the NFL is they're not suited. Black men are not suited to be quarterbacks because they don't lack the cognitive ability. They even use tests against Lamar, tests against CJ Stroud, tests against all black quarterbacks to say cognitively, you can't keep up. That's where that word cerebral comes in at. And you heard it used against Kader Salter and Julian Lewis, a 5-star, just like Ty Thompson, whose career was destroyed at Oregon intentionally. Thank God Juju is with Coach Prime and pray to God that Coach Prime can stay there. Because understand what the goal is. And just like Raheem Morris was married to a white woman, and look what happened to him, so is Brendan Marion. Pay attention. Pay attention. Just like Andrew Berry. Pay attention. The only reason Andrew Barry didn't get fired is because they're going to say it's racist. They try to do as much as they can and scapegoat the people they doing it to. But they were set up the day they were hired. Shedeur was set up before the combine began. Lured him to New Orleans. And immediately came back and said, we don't want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders. And watched every black quarterback who started a game in the NFL be attacked. And watched musical chairs so they could be positioned either behind another black quarterback or behind somebody that they weren't going to never get no playing time. Pay attention. It's not a coincidence. It's not just about Shedeur. And it is MLK Day. And Atlanta is the birthplace of Martin Luther King. None of it is a coincidence. It's a thumbs up at black people. Just like race norming. If you say black NFL players, period, have lower cognitive functioning than white, so you don't need to pay them for concussions, you're saying black people are dumber than white people. And they treat the city of Atlanta like it. Oh, here go Matt Ryan, so you won't say nothing. Y'all love Matty Ice. Not no more. Because they see what time it is. Just like Lamar see what time it is, Shedeur knew what time it was. See, we didn't know all of that was going on, and we still don't know everything. But the point is, these black quarterbacks in the league are finally getting it like the black quarterbacks in college. So I expect to see them working together. Because that's what they don't want, them to be unified. All right, so I wish CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams the best offseason. Both of them know they was cheated. They know. This is why I use this photo. This is not even from this game. These guys are friends. They know each other. CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are friends. CJ Stroud watched Bryce Young go through it. Then it was his turn. Cleveland Browns fans, Atlanta fans watch Cleveland Browns fans go through it. Now it's Atlanta's turn. You see, the MO is always the same. If it works, it spreads. I told y'all Cleveland was an experimental franchise. And now you see, I'm right. Kevin Stefanski has been rewarded. They think they're winning. But the peculiar part, I'm back to that. The peculiar part about all of that is the person that's protecting them, right? Is the person that they previously denied. The person that told them to take in racism out the end zone, but told them they were stupid and they better find somewhere for Shador to go. Same person was on a halftime show. So they working their way in. And they let him announce the 2027 draft. Right? And they moving like they have no consequences because we got all this protection. Then the protection showed up again and say Harbaugh need to be the next head coach. So if you was thinking about Stefanski, no. So I said it, damn, he blocked Stefanski, who abused Shedeur. But he ain't say nothing about that we know of. But he did come out and say, I told you so about Shedeur, and Shedeur got to be the starter. So the protection keeps showing up, right? Well, here's what the protection said publicly about himself. If we don't win these midterms, they're going to impeach me. So he knows. He knows the consequences. He understands that things could change. He understands that. And he understands the consequences. So I have to do what I got to do to maintain power. These fools not moving like that. They moving like because they got him, even though he just showed them multiple times what it's going to be and who really is in charge, which was just big flex. But it was also very effective. It shows you who they yield to. And of course, he probably took pleasure in it because they denied him previously. And they think that's their protection. But he just showed them multiple times he going to have his way. And I know he got a friend that won a team. And I want you to understand this. He moving like he know that things could change. And I got to do everything I can to maintain, right? They moving like there are no consequences. And they decided to attack in Atlanta. And you know why that's ignorant? Because when it blow up, don't be surprised if one of his friends becomes the next owner. See, people will let you make a fool of yourself especially if you denied them previously something they wanted, and now they in power, and they showing people that they got you on a puppet string, and they taking pleasure in that, and they keep popping up over and over and over and over, and it's effective, and they keep bowing to it, and they have no choice, but they moving unlike him. Like he didn't say, if we don't win these midterms, they gonna impeach me. They not moving like, if he get put out of office and the pendulum swing the other way, we gonna be in trouble. That's the difference between the two. One understands the consequences and will do anything because they understand the consequences. The others are moving like time has no end. Consequences are not a thing. And who gonna check me, boo? And you know what? Screw all y'all. It's not that we don't want black quarterbacks. It's not that we don't want black coaches. We don't want black GMs. We don't even want y'all black fans. So on MLK weekend, we're going to give the abuser of one of the most famous, most Googled people out here in the world, most famous quarterback, that's a rookie, drafted in the 5th round. We're going to elevate the person that abused him in front of everybody. After we abused him in front of everybody, and we're going to blame it on his daddy. Atlanta. How stupid can you be? If Cleveland's tickets was $6, and I have said it multiple times, Atlanta wouldn't even show up. I'm like, because it ain't Cleveland. See, Cleveland is white. It's supposed to be black, but from what I understand, the fan base. I saw a lot of black people though, but point is, if even white people was willing to stay away, white people in Atlanta are a little different. Don't come here if you're racist. When you go past white people's houses in Atlanta, they have signs in their yard for, at one point, like Stacey Abrams. You're going to see Keisha Lance Bottoms because she's running for governor. Mayor Andre Dickens. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see, but yeah, they different. And some of their kids might go to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss got 2 black quarterbacks. They got several black head coaches. Mississippi flipped blue. Things are changing. But the NFL, even though the protector knows the consequences of things changing, and he know they could change, they not moving like that. They not moving like that. They moving like, to hell with all of it. And this is exactly what they did when they took in racism out the end zone. They saw it as an opportunity to attack with no end in sight. But he don't even think that. He knows that there's an end. Why don't they? So somebody else echoed what I said, and I shared it. I think I shared it on multiple platforms. So I'm going to play this because I want y'all to hear this. Let's see. Hopefully I got the right one this time. Nope, that's not it. Let's see. Did I delete it? I might have deleted it. Nope, I must have deleted it. I might have deleted it. It was my own video where I had somebody basically saying, I'm gonna get it back. It's important. You need to hear this. You need to hear this. Because when you hear something from one person, sometimes people don't get it. But when you hear it from multiple people, or you hear it from people, you know, who have influence, it kind of makes sense, right? So I'm going to play this because I think it's important. Oh, okay. I think this is very important. It's a live show, so things happen when it's live. All right. So here we go. Oh, here we not go. Here we go. And y'all need to understand something too. Y'all gonna hear me say something. You're gonna hear it somewhere else. You're gonna hear it echoed elsewhere. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't care. I don't care if they come steal it. You know why? As long as the message gets out there. That's my motto. Because that's really what's important, right? So I'm never bothered by that, and I don't want y'all to think that I am. So
specifically because Matt Ryan.
What's up?
Oh, I think I see what happened.
Yeah,
Okay, I know what happened. I was putting together a clip, and I must have had when I have like a gazillion windows open, I see what happened with that one. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, hold on 1 second. Because it is important. So I'm definitely going to find it. All right, hold on 1 second. So when I have a gazillion windows, the background came into the video. And I didn't know that happened, but it's cool. I don't have a problem with that either. So you got to learn. Let's see. All right, so this one doesn't have that. So, okay, because I had already posted. I think I already shared this one, so it's okay. Underperforming, failing as a coach within 2 weeks, Kevin Stefanski has started an uproar in the city of Atlanta with fans and non-fans alike. The narrative is that this was racially motivated. It was intended to upset the fans so that the black fans would move away and white fans would gravitate toward the Falcons. Now, if you don't know, the Falcons have a largely black fan base, as the city of Atlanta is majority black.
Dominantly African-American fan base to coach this team. This is a racial situation for people that may not think it's racial, but it is.
Right.
I don't go to Falcons games. If I was any of the Falcons fan base, I would not buy any tickets. I would boycott the season, specifically because Matt Ryan is tone deaf and has no idea what they're doing already. The Falcons are already cursed enough. So you're going to bring in some guy that tried to disrespect the son of a Falcons legend to coach the Falcons. Yeah, that's stupid. Good luck. Dumbest move ever. Don't buy any Falcons tickets. Don't go to the Falcons games. Like, until this man is gone. He should be fired by Tuesday morning if Atlanta get their shit together and let it be known we ain't standing for this. So good luck.
Fans have already started calling for Kevin Stefanski to be fired, and rightfully so. Now, I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was intentional, and it was totally disrespectful to the fan base, disrespectful to black people everywhere, to insist that it is okay for Kevin Stefanski to have tried to derail not only the career, but to break this young man's spirit. Intimidating teammates who showed compassion for Shedeur, retaliating against them, even having one man fired. Benching players who showed compassion and support for Shedeur Sanders and echoed what fans saw for themselves, that Shedeur Sanders is already a legendary player. He stands out as an athlete. Like Myles Garrett said, no one else is making those throws. 393 yards. And he was still being suppressed and taken out the game for what I call those raggedy Wildcat plays. Kevin Stefanski was fired, and rightfully so. And to be hired and fail off in the city of Atlanta was blatant disrespect and racially motivated. Yep, I totally agree with that point. But I also believe it was intentional. Right. I don't believe Matt Ryan was tone deaf. So essentially, I don't believe he was tone deaf. I believe he was very intentional. I think they chose Matt Ryan intentionally because they know how the fans felt about Matt Ryan. Understand, they know. They talked about this. They knew what they was going to do. They weighed the consequences of this, and they didn't give a damn. That's my point. Don't misunderstand me when I say they're not thinking about what happens when things change. Overall, it's not the same as when they decided to hire Stefanski, and they talked about this. They knew exactly what they were doing, so they need their fan base to flip from black people to white people, because that's the only damn way they're going to survive. What else did he say? They are cursed enough. Every team that is not black quarterback friendly, that tries to upend a black quarterback, that tries to destroy a black quarterback, is cursed. The New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, the Tennessee Titans. You think it's a coincidence that Kansas City was successful? No. You think it's a coincidence that Philly was successful? No. And they know these guys are elite. They know they're good, and they also know they plan to destroy them. Draft to destroy. 17 to 32. And it starts in college. This is why Black men need to start their own league. And they think you can't even do it. They think you would rather settle for what they throw to you like you're a peasant and try to convince you that that's where you belong and you should be happy to be there. They did the same thing in slavery. So it was not tone deaf. It's intentional. It's an insult to Black people everywhere, just like Race Norman in the NFL. You can't just say all Black NFL players are dumb and white players are smarter and think that Black people, when they find out about that, not going to understand they're talking about us. Why are Black football players' brains different from their moms and their dads and their cousins and their aunties and every other Black person? That's how much they hate the Black players that they bring in. They paid $1 billion lawsuit and people rarely talked about it, but it's well documented. It's called Race Norman. Shout out to Eric Dickinson for at least bringing it, trying to bring it to the forefront. And you see, they still don't talk about it because the media is the damn culprit. That's why if you have your own platform, don't let them take it and don't follow their narratives. Use your damn brain that they think isn't even valuable and provide your own commentary. So if you ask me, they don't really have no protection. They themselves are being used by somebody that they previously denied. Just the time hadn't come yet. So let me see what y'all saying, because I said a lot. Let me see what y'all saying. So again, happy MLK. If y'all didn't hear when I first came in, Atlanta and the NFL made Kevin Stefanski one of the highest paid coaches, reported to be $15 million a year. Mike Tomlin made $18 million a year and was in the league 19 years. Let that sink in. Mike Tomlin was a winning coach, never had the Coach of the Year award. Stefanski had 2 and only won 2 years out of 6. And this is failing all the way up. And they targeted the city of Atlanta. And they rushed up his hiring to coincide with MLK Day. Because everybody is parades and we celebrating. And they're basically saying, we don't want you as Black fans. We don't value you as Black fans. This is the blackest city in the U.S. and they know it. And they know what Deion Sanders means to the city. They know what Michael Vick means to the city. But it explains why they've only had 2 Black quarterbacks. Because they, the Falcons, in the blackest city in Atlanta, is not for the city. Like DC Youngfly said, they just want your money. Just like they want Black players to labor for them. They don't respect Black people. Keep your damn money and reallocate your time. All right, headed to the comments and see what's going on. I already have a good show plan for tonight. I already have a good off-season plan for tonight. It is MLK. You want to join. You want to join. All right. The flyest show on the planet. What she said, sports, you heard. Thank you. It said represented 20 million followers strong. East Coast, West Coast. That's facts. And worldwide. That's facts. It said, yes, Professor, what she said, sports. Welcome, Ann. And Jeanette, welcome back. It said the Fallout Part 2, the very best informative channel that keeps me up to date, as well as I learned something I didn't know. Oh, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And I have a Patreon as a backup for a good reason. A good reason, right? I learned, stick your neck out, you can get your head cut off. But understand, I will sue your ass too. Understand that too. It said, hey there, Queen, the Egyptian Queen. I'm here. I'm ready. What's up, Tina? Welcome back. What's up, 420? Happy King Day. Facts. Happy King Day, Peter. Thank you for joining us. Bridget, hey, how you doing, sis? Hit the like button. Yes, please take a moment. Please take a moment and hit the like button. It is MLK Day. There are 256 of us. Hit the like button. Thank you so much. It said that's a darn shame. You must be talking about how much they paid Kevin Stefanski. That's how you know. It's a total. They let you know this is intentional. They're letting you know, we know this is Atlanta. They're letting you know, we know this is the blackest franchise. We're letting you know, we don't want you. We don't value you. Just like we didn't want Shedeur and we didn't value him. And you saw what happened to him. Heads up, Michael Penix Jr., and heads up to everybody else that's black on that team. There's a reason why they let him pick the GM. He was upset in Cleveland, that what? Shedeur got a chance to play. Actually said he was upset because of the personnel decisions. People in Cleveland were upset that a white man got fired and a black man didn't. They tried to make sure Andrew Berry was fired along with Kevin Stefanski, but Berry was successful like the GM in Atlanta. And Raheem Morris won more games than Stefanski and only made $4 million. And Stefanski's being paid handsomely for his services. And it has nothing to do with football and everything we're trying to do to destroy black quarterbacks. Yep. And losing games, rigging games to lose, tearing up the locker room. And it's crazy how they keep scapegoating Andrew Berry. Just like they scapegoated Coach Prime. They love to scapegoat black people. And just because you married to a white woman, you better ask Sharon Moore. You better ask Raheem Morris and heads up Andrew Berry. Well, they say his wife's not white. Heads up Brenda Marion. Heads up, because you still black. And you better look at all them black coaches over there and see how they treat them, including Coach Prime. All them black coaches that been through there and the late recent times, they go from black coach to black coach and they do them the same. They did the same thing with Raheem Morris, only gave him 2 years. The other black coaches in Colorado only had, Coach Prime is the longest tenure black coach, and you see they tried to destroy that last year. I guess they thought he was going to be gone. And when he didn't, look what they did to his program. When Shedeur had the audacity to come to the team that was going to hire him, and he has records to prove it, and they know it. What did they do? Try to destroy him. You know what popped up in my feed? I don't even follow Dylan Gabriel's little girlfriend, but she popped up in my feed. And guess what I saw? They looked like they first trip they left Cleveland and went straight to the University of Oregon. Yeah. I'm like, did I see Dylan pulling the suitcase? I don't even know. I just hit not interested. Then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. Because she was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be back in Oregon. Dan Lanning. What did the getaway driver say? Well, I mean, I'd say, what did the getaway driver point to? University of Oregon, Oregon football. That's 3 people. Penn State and NFL. That's 5 people. And they ran on up there, Oregon. If I saw a suitcase, I wonder if they had some of Shedeur stuff in there. If they brought Dan Lanning a souvenir. Was God trying to tell me something? Interesting. It's on TikTok. Go check it out. Let me know what you see. Because why would they just go running up there? It said, that's a damn shame. Yep. It said racism and sabotage being rewarded in Atlanta. Absolutely. Absolutely. Also Green Bay, because Matt LaFleur. But yeah, it says, so he got to cause criminal activity on Shedeur and to only get rewarded with this is diabolical. Facts, Jenkins. It said they don't talk about all of CJ Stroud's best receivers were out. Right. And what did they do to Shedeur? Took his talent. That's not new. What did they do to Lamar Jackson? Made sure they didn't even throw. The coaches planned to throw to Mark Andrews instead of all of the talent that the Ravens brought in. But then the Ravens fired Harbaugh, but who the hell paid? Mark Andrews all that money. It was saying years ago he comes missing in big games. That's why they threw the ball to him. Look at what happened to Shedeur with his tight ends. Not Harold Fady Jr., and you see they held out Njoku. They made sure to move all of the best talent out the way where these black quarterbacks are concerned so they don't advance. The question is, do they even care if black fans don't participate and show up? Well, they don't in Atlanta because they pick MLK, the birthplace of Martin Luther King, to rush this up to tell you this. The man plane hadn't landed long enough. They already knew what they was going to do. He got fired a week to the day the third suspect got arrested and failed up handsomely, which is a message to let people who are doing what Stefanski's doing, holding back black quarterbacks, intentionally failed to build chemistry with black quarterbacks, abusing them, sending the message, we don't want you, we don't value fixing and rigging games. Keep going, we got you. That's the message. That's the message. They want it to be a whites-only space, then let it be it. But just like they think the black players, the black quarterbacks in particular, should settle for a backup, I guess they think we should settle for them as football entertainment. They alive. I already been watching 7-on-7. I just saw Julio Jones. Is it Julio or Julio? A legend of the Falcons at a basketball game, and that's where you're going to find me. Take your damn ball and go home. Keep your damn money and reallocate your time. And since they don't respect black people, let them go find somebody else to fill up them stands. And pay $300 damn per ticket to be disrespected, to be used as a pawn. We don't want you, but we want your money. If we don't destroy you, can we have your money? No, we don't like you, but can we have your money? The hell with y'all. Get out of here with that. Find somebody else. It said, okay, I got my opinion. He's a coach for money, willing to do anything for money. That's the reward. He's being rewarded, like Harbaugh is being rewarded. Look at Harbaugh's quarterback and look at Stefanski. He's being rewarded. It said it's not a coincidence. It's also not a coincidence that Ryan Staub ended up in Tennessee where the man is played. That's not a coincidence at all. That's not a coincidence at all. It's not a coincidence. Let's talk about it. I shared it with members already. Ryan Staub signed with Tennessee. Not a coincidence. He was being courted by the SEC, right? Signed with Tennessee. Who is Tennessee that we know of in the NFL where Shedeur is? Who they trying to get? The Manny kid, right? Manny kid go to Texas. Ryan Staub signed with Tennessee. Tennessee is Peyton Manning. Tennessee is Jimmy Haslam. Also in that inner trust circle is Jimmy Sexton, who was Derrick Henry's agent, who was the agency representing Matt Ryan, but he just made a change for some odd reason. I guess they trying to cover their tracks so everything don't point back to Jimmy Sexton, but it's too late. They chose Matt Ryan intentionally. Ryan Staub will be chosen, and he is eligible the same year as Arch Manning. Look for the play. Look for the play against Shedeur. I told you, while people are talking about who going to the Super Bowl, hiring Stefanski in the NFC South is to make sure that Tyler Shaw wins, not Bryce Young, and not who? Michael Penix Jr. Who else is it? Baker Mayfield. They already took him down this year. His coach wasn't going to get rehired. I wonder what he had to agree to get rehired. You know why they love to take down Baker Mayfield? Because he escaped Cleveland and went to be successful. But did they abuse him? No. They just tried to make him a check down king. So if Stefanski had 11, 12, or 13 quarterbacks in 6 years, what you think going to happen with Michael Penix Jr.? The narrative is the Browns didn't let him do his job. The Browns were the only people that would give him a job. So now they want to blame the Browns. Who the hell is that? You can't blame Andrew Berry. But see, Stefanski already did. I said it during the season. He went running to the NFL with that story that was published that he could make personnel decisions. So who we blaming? Haslam or Andrew Berry? You see how Andrew Berry's talking about we like family and he undermined the hell out of Andrew Berry? You see how he trying to throw Andrew Berry under the bus? You see? He didn't respect him. I would think he liked black people. I don't have no problem with saying that. Prove to me that he does when it's not a stunt. Look at how he stunted and was touching all over Shedeur because he had screwed himself. And then he ends up in Atlanta. Not a coincidence. his behavior against Shedeur to harm him was not a coincidence. Just like him being hired in Atlanta. People that look like Shedeur. It's not a coincidence. So yeah, Ryan Staub is going to be taken care of and probably plotted against Shedeur, somebody that looked like him. 2027. Book it. Remember, he didn't have no NFL aspirations. And look at where he landed. Not bad for a kid with no NFL aspirations. Smash the like button. Nepotism all day. Look at the last names. Oh my God. Yep. Not being racist. Yep. That's just what it is. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? They said they know we got next. So they're not giving us anything. Their preference would be a mass. Yeah, I ain't gonna say that out loud. But if they could figure out how to push us out, yes, absolutely. Salute. How you doing? How you doing? It said I believe Stefanski was in every room that they colluded against Shedeur Sanders. In my opinion, they asked the owners, "Oh, Stefanski for a favor." Right, he was rewarded, and you're right about that. Why? Because Shedeur was targeted by the Browns, right? And publicly they used Andrew Berry after the Giants. They was playing good cop, bad cop. The Giants was like, "Oh, we don't want Shedeur, blah 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 blah," and Coach Prime this and Coach Prime that, blah 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 blah. And all of the people involved with that got protected, and actually that ball is back out interviewing in the NFL. So see, all of that's just posturing. All of that was just posturing and making a way so they could award Harbaugh. That was it. So over here in Cleveland, I told y'all earlier, they targeted Shedeur. When Shedeur became the number one quarterback off the board in October of 2024, he was targeted by the Browns. A black quarterback was targeted at the Vegas Super Bowl. They just didn't have a name yet until you knew who it was going to be. Cam, Shedeur, or Milroe. They took care of Milroe in the SEC because of Jackson Dart. They trashed Milroe, and Milroe and Dart had similar QBRs. That was so Milroe doesn't come out as the king of the SEC and come into the NFL in the first round. Shedeur Sanders later that year, October of 2024, same thing happened to him when he hit number one. The campaign against him. They never talked about Cam Ward, just like they don't talk about Carson Beck. And what did they do? They settled on Cam Ward because Tennessee, I want to trade my pick. They didn't want Travis. They didn't want Abdul Carter. They didn't want Cam Ward. They seemed like they were interested in Shedeur, but they weren't invested like the Browns invested themselves with Stefanski. So Shedeur had some communicate from Stefanski. Stefanski's salary is a reward for luring in Shedeur to make him think he was going to be drafted in the draft. I told you God works in mysterious ways meant they had conversations when things changed. And then Shedeur shows up in Cleveland making a decision for himself as Stefanski betrayed him. And Shedeur had never gone to Cleveland, Stefanski would still be in Cleveland. But because he did, and it exposed them, Stefanski got taken care of. It's not just Stefanski. It's also Harbaugh. It's also Matt LaFleur. Pay attention to Ben Johnson. See what happens to C.J. Stroud's coach, who's black. They asked him on the podium about C.J. Stroud. He said, C.J. Stroud is our guy. I thought he looked like he wanted to cry. I was like, because he know if that happened, you're going to lose your job. They said when Shedeur was coming out in the draft, even before draft day, the coach that drafts him was going to lose their job. Mike Tomlin was going to draft Shedeur and got aggressively intimidated from it and still lost his job. And Harbaugh fell right on up. And they basically gave Kevin Stefanski the money that Mike Tomlin had earned over 19 years. $15 million a year for Stefanski. It was $18 million for Tomlin. Tomlin had to work for his. It was handed to Stefanski as a reward for taking down black quarterbacks. Pay attention to everybody that got a black quarterback. Hey, how you doing? Queen T said, I agree. He said he was on an NFL. He was an NFL employee first. That's why he was crying. He was crying when he published that story was published about him being upset because he didn't like the personnel choices. He was running and crying to the NFL and the public for sympathy to let people know I didn't want Shedeur to play, but they put him in there, so it ain't me. And he got rewarded. Andrew Berry only has a job because only black GMs have been fired. He would have been number 3. What did I say about Minnesota? Why are they telling us on Tuesday? They want to tell us something on Thursday. And what they told us was, we're going to extend our black or African GM. I was like, why we need to know that? Now you know why. They're posturing. They're going to fire both of them. And they're going to set up Andrew Berry with whoever it is they hire. Right now, they fawning over Udinski. You see the connection? You see what's happening here, right? And if not him, it's going to be Monken who set up Lamar. So they're looking for Stefanski 2.0, and they're going to use that person because they're not going to win because they want to wait on the Manning kid. They're going to use that person unless they get Ryan Staub. Don't be surprised. They're going to use that person to take down Andrew Berry. Shedeur not the target this time. They figured out they got him licked. They know how to hold him back. They're going to use whoever they get in free agency. They feel like they got that conquered. Andrew Berry is the target. Whoever they hire going to take down Andrew Berry. Just like they used Kirk Cousins to take down Raheem Morris. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles. So he had 4 turnovers, and I don't hear nothing about it. Okay, thank you for that. Talk that talk. Thank you, Peter. It said Josh was trash. He mid, but the best they got. Right. He the best. And for him to be the best, Lamar got to get cheated. Shedeur got cheated. What happened when Shedeur had Josh Allen on the ropes? Number 13 for the Browns took the ball, the placeholder, and kicked and threw it to the cameraman. So the Browns, Shedeur didn't tie up with Josh Allen. That's how desperate they are. This is criminal. It is a federal crime to fix and rig football games. But yet, they protect the note. If we don't win these midterms, they're going to impeach me, but they don't know nothing. They like, screw it. We just out here doing everything. They act like they were sent into a store and told to attack all the black quarterbacks you want, and you on the clock. They don't even act like they on the clock. They like, well, just screw it. Like there's no consequences. Oh, we don't care what the black people say. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So y'all better show them like they wanted to show us on MLK weekend. It said, as a Black Saints fan that's from New Orleans, Spencer Rattler is better than Tyler Shaw. Yes, he is. Spencer Rattler was better than Tyler Shaw because Spencer Rattler beat out Tyler Shaw before the season started. And what did they do in New Orleans? And my name is Nola Girl, by the way. What did they do in New Orleans? They gave Spencer Rattler the toughest part of the schedule, and they gave the easy peasy stuff to who? Tyler Shaw. And they used that to put him into the finals for Rookie of the Year. And where did he go? And Dylan go? And Jackson Dart have an association. The Manning Passing Academy. And who are the Mannings connected to? The Browns, the Saints, and the Giants. What teams are cursed? The Browns, the Saints, and the Giants. Who the Browns waiting on to come out of college? Probably the Manning kid and Ryan Staub, which means Shedeur going to be over there. Pay attention. Tyler Shaw had largely uncontested passes. Spencer Rattler, they was catching dimes in traffic like Derrick Rose used to go through traffic. Same thing. Highly contested. So they're going to have to rig every game next year for Tyler Shaw. So they hire Kevin Stefanski to make sure that they suppress Michael Penix Jr. Let's see if he's stupid enough to do exactly the same that he did to Shedeur, if he think he's slick enough to figure out how not to get caught. Because Shedeur had 20 million fans, and they think we not unified enough to pay attention to what the hell they got going on. Okay, you came to my city. It said he is the real boss. F the NFL. I know that's right. So it seemed like So rumors is that they fired Bills coach Sean McDermott wants to coach Shedeur. Oh well, yeah. Everybody want to coach Shedeur because they want a job. Of course, he just got fired. He don't want to wait till next year. He want to get back in immediately. Why they ain't talking about getting rid of Josh Allen? 4 turnovers and he was crying. I saw him crying. But CJ Stroud with 4 interceptions. What's the difference? 4 turnovers is 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers is 4 turnovers. I don't want to hear shit about CJ Stroud if we don't have nothing to say about Josh Allen. But this is what they do. Lamar can't win the big games. I'm listening. Josh Allen can't either. He was never better than Lamar. He was drafted in front of Lamar because they were trying to humiliate Lamar. I'm going to show you, and pushed him all the way down. And thank God for Ozzie Newsome. And they made sure Mike Tomlin wasn't Ozzie Newsome, and they made sure Mike Tomlin wasn't nowhere to draft a black quarterback next year. Thank God most of them went back to school. You better get that bag, and that might be your ceiling, and cool. Because you are not welcome here, and you're going to end up in a goddamn wheelchair, or you're not going to be able to enjoy the millions that you make. There's a lady going viral on social media. Her husband played in the NFL. He's in a wheelchair. She's talking about life beyond the NFL, what people need to know. He's black. The game doesn't have to be as violent as it is. You don't even have to tackle physically in practice. That's how they keep them 3 years in, 3 years out, injured. It said Stroud and Josh Allen. CJ Stroud is not trash. That means you don't know football. No rookie that comes in and put the team on his back against the Kansas City Chiefs and got cheated is trash. They sabotaged him in his sophomore year just like they sabotaged Jaden Daniels. And they already saying Jaden Daniels is too injury prone. We don't know about him. But what about Joe Burrow and J.J. McCarthy? So what you see happening to C.J. Stroud is the equivalent to Caleb Williams' backup being paid $10 million and he went to a D3 school. It's the equivalent of the narrative that they're having about Jaden Daniels. We don't know about him. But you know about Joe Burrow. You know about J.J. McCarthy. It's the narrative to push him out. Just like they had that ridiculous narrative that Lamar this and Lamar that, and Lamar was sleeping in this and all that. Same thing they did to Shedeur. It's the same thing. It's the same dusty playbook. The goal is just to rid itself of black quarterbacks. Why? Because they succeeded at ridding the league. No team has a black offensive coordinator unless they snuck one in. How many black coaches they have? They started with, 6? They had 4. And now we already fired Mike Tomlin. They already trying to fire Tampa's coach, Bowles. They already trying to fire first-year coach, Aaron Glenn. They already fired Raheem Morris, so they just fired 2. So 4, how many left? So if there were 5 with Aaron Glenn, how many are left? Bowles, D'Amico Ryans. Who else? Is that it? Ty Bowles. Oh, 3. So they started the season with 6. Or they started January with 6. They whittled it down to 4. They added Aaron Glenn, fired Raheem Morris, fired Mike Tomlin. So they got 3. Ty Bowles, Aaron Glenn, who they already want to fire. Ty Bowles, they didn't want to bring him back. So basically them 2 on the clock. And let's see what happens to CJ Stroud's coach, who just stood up for CJ Stroud. They depleted the Texans after CJ Stroud put that team on his back, just like they depleted the Philadelphia Eagles after the Super Bowl. And you're shocked with all of that manufactured chaos by A.J. Green. Who represent him? Well, all that manufactured chaos by A.J. Green that they didn't get to the Super Bowl. They weren't supposed to. This is the year of the whiteout, and this is what they wanted to be. I say let them have it, goddammit. It said that old Rock TV series was real. NFL behind the scenes. Check it out. What episode? It said Justin Herbert is trash, right? And whose job did he take? And how did they get it? Tyrod Taylor was the starter for the Chargers. A team doctor punctured him in his lung. And they used that to make him unavailable and made Justin Herbert the starter. And that man never got his job back. And he ran through Cleveland too. Notice how they all, RG3, Jacoby Brissett, all been through Cleveland. Look at how dirty they've been done. See, this wasn't just about Shedeur, but they used Coach Prime. They scapegoated Coach Prime. They scapegoated Shedeur. See, they're famous. Jacoby Brissett is not. RG3 was not. Tyrod Taylor was not. What did I say? If you're coming out of college and you're coming over here, you better come with some fans to stand up for you because you don't have no support. Where's the NFL Players Association? In the wind. Not a coincidence. They can't be active and fully functional at a time like this. When I'm sabotaging 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 black starting quarterbacks. And when you look at the division that the Dallas Cowboys are in, they got Dak and Joe Milton. Philly had Jalen Hurts and DTR that was pushed out of Cleveland by Stefanski. They pushed him out the league well before 3 or 4 years. He didn't make 4 years. I guess he got his benefits. I don't know. It used to be 4 years. They just run him around for 4 years. Let's see what happened to Geno Smith because they owe him money. Let's see if they move him to Cleveland for his last year until they pay off that $66 million that they owe him. But that's what they're going to do. Look for it. Pay attention. That's my motto. Pay attention. Box. Oh, yep. The show ballers. Facts. It's that they mock black folks with hiring Stefanski in Atlanta. That's exactly what it is. And you crazy if you think if that's not what it is. A message on MLK Day. Right. They rushed the process. You knew you was going to hire him. Why you needed to rush it? Because today is MLK Day. Look, that's the same reason they hired Matt Ryan. Jesus. It said, take out people for a joke. He got a raise. He went from 3.5 million to 15 million. He got rewarded handsomely. And everybody that's asked to do what he did understands the message. We got you. Keep going. It said Tyler Shaw. Okay. Some people need to understand something. Let me tell y'all something about trolls, okay? Especially the ones who don't like black people. They will use a black profile. Understand that. So you just got to ban people and kick them out. So that's what I just did. It says, greetings, Miss Nola. Did you know that the Browns former head coach, the Atlanta QB2, when they were at the Minnesota? Yeah, Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Kirk Cousins' contract is ungodly like Trevor Lawrence's. Trevor Lawrence was parked is parked until 2030. They knew giving Kirk Cousins not just the wealth, but that excessive top-heavy contract that they could move him because they already had a plan for how to take care of Michael Penix Jr. They targeted him in the draft. They knew in March they was going to draft Michael Penix Jr. in April, just like the Browns, who say they was drafting Shedeur in March, took Kenny Pickett over there to suck up the reps. You think it was a coincidence that Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco was over there just to suck up the reps and gone before anything real happened? No. When they got traded, Andrew Berry got his 2 draft picks back that he used to get Shedeur. And they had them before the draft started. How convenient. It just seems premeditated, which means Andrew Berry in on it too. Which is why they hired him, because I don't think his wife is black. People keep saying she is, but I don't think so. They like that. That's how they know they could use you. Or so they think. So yeah, Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins was planted there to be a problem. Absolutely. It said it will be interesting to see how the fans of Chocolate City will respond to the hiring of Stefanski. They upset. We gonna see what happens when the whistle blow. That's what you want to see. Happy MLK Day. Facts. It said they're gonna bring out Jermaine Dupri. Watch. They already did that. I listed off all the people they had at the halftime show. Oh, they gonna use some black people. It's some black podcasters already being used, whether they know it or not. And what did I say about them bringing all these black people close? You know how many black limited partners they have? Several, like 6. One of them is the producer of Girls Trip. The other one I know is Dominique Dawes. Then there's several others. And that seem friendly, but they don't have a voice. Think about when Atlanta brought in their Black limited partner, Charles Woodson. Have you seen him? Could he stop Stefanski? Could Andrew Berry stop Stefanski? They've been playing the Andrew Berry face. Andrew Berry is Harvard educated. And they made him Stefanski's equal, so Berry couldn't fire Stefanski. And now Stefanski is in Atlanta. He gets to pick the GM himself. And the Browns get the blame because they didn't let Stefanski do his job for 6 years with 11 different quarterbacks. But they let him turn people into checkdown kings. They let him abuse Shedeur. He could abuse Shedeur, but he couldn't win games because of them. So you can abuse Shedeur. You get away with that. But you can't win no games. No, the Browns didn't stop you from doing your job. Nor did they stop you from abusing Shedeur. And they're going to pay for that. So he full of shit. But that's not new. Happy MLK Day. Facts. It's that the way to move him, his fans don't buy a ticket or a jersey. They don't buy nothing. Don't buy nothing. Don't buy nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stop spending your money where you're not wanted to celebrate it. Right. I mean, do you really need a reason to keep your money? I mean, you got one, but nobody should have to tell you to do that. You know, people are telling you to do it, but you should have already decided to do that. Don't buy tickets. Don't buy jerseys. Please don't win a game under this disrespect. They probably going to win some 1 or 2 games. Let's see what happens. Everything revolves around Michael Penix Jr. The moment I heard, first of all, what I heard, I noticed something was happening because when they hired Stefanski, it made sense. It didn't make sense before, but I thought it was strange. I thought it was strange that the owner of the Falcons was using the same language as the owner of the Browns. They said they issued out the same statement. We got to do it for the fans. We got to do it for the fans, right? And then Haslam was asked about Shedeur, and he refused to answer the question. And then in Atlanta, after they hired Matt Ryan, because they got to do it for the fans, they hired Matt Ryan, and they got everybody all excited, right? And then what did he do? Michael Penix Jr. gonna be the starter because that's all the fans. I told y'all the fans go hard for Michael Penix Jr. They was like, screw that Kirk Cousins crap because they remember he cost them year 1. He cost them year 2. But Michael Penix Jr. got the start, but they took him out because he got injured. And they don't know. They the reason he got injured. And I'm willing to bet you, just like in Cleveland, Deshaun Watson's salary is covered by insurance. Michael Penix Jr.'s is too. And so is probably Travis Hunter. Somebody they said they was wasting their money on. They got their money back. See, injuries. See, Shedor's contract is not that big. No point in that. But guess who else's was? Pat Mahomes. He had a $400 million contract or something crazy like that. They paid his salary because it was a season-ending injury. Only Black quarterbacks are being used for insurance payments. Everybody else got turf toe or a sprained ankle or some shit. You see? Sad. That's just sad. It said, I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin don't try to trade Penix to Cleveland for his boy Dylan. Penix make too much money for Dylan. When I saw Dylan and his little girlfriend at Oregon, I thought it was interesting. I have to go back and look at that clip and see if I saw a suitcase or something like that, because they had some souvenirs if they did. Because why are you at Oregon with a suitcase? Did you get off the plane and go from Cleveland and go straight to Oregon? Because that is interesting. That is interesting. If y'all on TikTok, go find that post on her page. I don't even follow her, but I can go back and find it. So, and it should be in some kind of history, because I think I looked at it, and then at the bottom, I think I clicked not interested. So, the fact that they ran there first, I thought was quite interesting, especially when you think about the robbery, when you think about when Stefanski was fired. He was fired a week from the day that the third suspect was caught. They had already closed the case, which everybody's like, why the hell would you do that if you're looking for number 4? Right? Even the picture for number 4 was old because he had been locked up for 12 years at some other point. So I don't know. Something ain't right here, right? And now with the whole Stefanski thing, and people are like, it's no coincidence that this is happening, right? All of this, the prank, all of it. And it seems like, once again, they're trying to make it seem personal so you don't realize it's racist. That incoming Matt Ryan. Y'all love Matt Ryan. Y'all love Michael Penix Jr. And basically just emulating the Cleveland Browns. And what was in it for the Cleveland Browns? They got a new stadium. We already see Stefanski rewarded, so how will the Falcons be rewarded? The Falcons not rewarded with Stefanski. In fact, it's threatening to blow up everything. My guess is they're going to buy or they own 200 to 500 acres somewhere else, and they're going to have their own stadium and their own star. Every team wants a star. Is this how the Falcons get theirs and how they get out the city? And an excuse to leave because the black people don't want to show up no more. So we move it to the burbs. Bye. Goodbye. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Sharon? Welcome back. I blocked him, Tina. There wasn't no point to that. Instead, I was trying to say, hey, gang, hit the like button when you come in. Please, thank you. Okay, thank you, Tina. Thank you, thank you. It said Drake May is the new Great White Hope. Yep. It said actually all of them. And anyone that they get is the Great White Hope. And why is that? Because it's not about the team. It's about overall the majority of the quarterbacks. That's why they willing away black coaches, willing away black GMs, willing away black OCs. Mission accomplished. There are none. Now they almost to zero. They only got 3. They only got 3 black head coaches. Let's see. And all these, and it's only a few black coaches interviewing for jobs, and the most popular one is Mike McDaniel, and he's half black. Let's see if he get a job. Where Brian Flores? Where Raheem Morris at? Raheem Morris had a better record than Stefanski, and he don't get no job. He only had 2 years. Stefanski had 6. They playing in your face. Playing in your face. Emmitt Smith's son will be in the draft this year as a running back. Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Hey, black girl, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said I literally canceled my ATL Falcons, canceled my ATL Falcons season tickets after learning Stefanski got the job. I heard that that's what's happening today. But people wondering, I'm hearing that Atlanta people are canceling their tickets, and they had to know to expect this. So let's see what they do. Let's see who they fill those seats with. Maybe they from Eastern Europe, because maybe. Exactly. It's that breakdown. Thank you so much. It said, I love your commentary. You're always breaking the truth and educating the people. Right. And again, I have a Patreon for this exact reason. It said misdirection, peculiar, protection, speaking in code, all of it, all of it. It said go along to get along. Yep, that's it. That's it. That's it. That is it. I agree. None of it is a coincidence. Facts. It's not a coincidence at all. It's all intentional. And again, they sped the process. It's like they taking pleasure in disrespecting black people. They didn't want to celebrate MLK Day, so they just chose to disrespect black people instead. Right? And they knew it was going to polarize or basically isolate their fan base. They don't care. They knew it was going to aggravate their fan base. They don't care. They don't care. Maybe they figured you're watching on TV because we still gonna get that $452 million check. They don't own Mercedes-Benz, and every team wants a star. What is in it for the Falcons to push away their black fan base? Stay tuned. I feel sorry for the diehards. I don't know why it's going to be a choice for them, but I believe it will be. But I feel sorry for them because you got to be crazy. Who do you love? It better be you. It better be you, because they think they can play in your face by bringing in Matt Ryan and saying that Penix is going to be the starter, but then hire Stefanski like the abuse was okay. That Shedeur sustained. Like we can't see Shedeur is black. Like we can't see Michael Penix is black. Like we can't learn or don't know about what Stefanski did to Deshaun. They want you not to care about Deshaun. They crazy if they think you're not going to care about Shedeur. They don't want you to care. Here's their thinking. Okay, we're going to have to move him out of Cleveland for multiple reasons. We're going to have to move him out of Cleveland. Send him to Atlanta. They won't say nothing. They diehards down there. They're loyal. As long as you name Michael Penix Jr., the starter, and Matt Ryan, the GM, who they love, till yesterday, they're not going to say nothing. Because Michael Penix Jr. don't have 20 million fans. And there were people who were black. Why y'all giving this attention? Because y'all should be happy. He gone from Cleveland. I said, so I'm supposed to not care about Michael Penix Jr. That's their theory. Black people don't stick together. I stopped going to Falcons games because they were mistreating Michael Penix Jr. in his first year. They played straight in his face and benched him. Just like they benched Shedeur behind Dillon. They benched Penix behind Cousins. They don't want a black quarterback. They don't want to win with Penix. This is not my first time saying that. I wish him well. I pray to God he has the mental resolve of Shedeur Sanders. They're talking about Cousins is going to be Ryan replacement as an analyst on the NFL. So he's probably playing his last year, right? While Michael Penix Jr. is there. So he's going to get rewarded. It's that they're also switching up on where the Manning kid lands. ATL is on the clock. Don't be surprised because you see Ryan Staub, who didn't have no NFL aspirations, landed at Tennessee, which is the alumni of the Haslams, and which is the owner of the Browns. And Peyton Manning. Don't be surprised if he land over there with the Browns. Don't be surprised. And the Manning kid gonna get to choose where he go, just like he chose where he went to college. Coach T should have been picked for the head coach of the Falcons. They actually put out a statement saying that the Giants of all teams, the team that defamed Shedeur because they didn't want no black quarterback in the first round because they never had one. How many black head coaches have they had? I'm going to have to look it up. Put out a statement that they were interested in talking to Mike Tomlin. I'm like, yeah, just like you were interested in talking to Shedeur, like you were interested in drafting Shedeur number 3 overall, which was crap. They did everything imaginable. And you know why they're saying that? Because they knew, like everybody else, Mike Tomlin's contract, because he decided he got pushed out. That's just what it is. He got pushed out. And he was going to be a lame duck, meaning you don't have no power, but he already didn't have none. Or you was going to get pushed out. So the season was going to be brutal on him anyway. So it's better to go, but they still own him. They have to approve the Steelers. Tomlin needs their permission for a job. See, that's why you don't put yourself in no situation like that, where they own you and you don't work for them no more. What the hell is that about? Essentially, they could transfer him to another plantation, but since they don't want him to have the job, he got to go home. They don't want him to be successful. So notice the media keeps showing him with his family, his daughter at University of Georgia. He would have been great for the Atlanta job. Just like Shador would have been great as QB1 from the beginning of the season. But did that happen? They made sure it didn't, just like they made sure Mike Tomlin can't get another job without their permission. It's all intentional. All right, I'm going to get myself out of here because I got to be back at 10:35 and it's already 8 o'clock. All right, so be back. I'll be back for the off season tonight. The off season is where we get to celebrate, where we get to probably going to learn some things, knowing me, Professor. Cultural anthropologist professor. So I'll be back at 10:35, you guys. I'll be back at 10:35. I already put together the show. See y'all for the off season at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on What She Said Sports. I'll see y'all later. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hype me up. Don't forget to hype me up. Thanks, everybody. See y'all.